This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, I'm Sabrina Brown. It's great to have you with us. Topping the news, many believe it could be the latest step towards improving the delivery of justice in the country. In a recent address to the Constitutional Commission, the nation's Attorney General suggested that judges be held accountable for long delays in rendering judgments. Tonight, a former deputy magistrate and member of the Bahamas Bar is speaking to the issue. Megan Shepherd reports.
Former Deputy Chief Magistrate Rangan Johnson says she fully supports Attorney General Alison Maynard Gibson in suggesting that some form of judicial misconduct be added to the Constitution for judges who take too long by the standards to produce judgments.
I think there is a misconduct when the court, whether it's the tribunal, whether it's the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, the Magistrate Court, fail to give rulings of the cases that they try or any applications before them within a reasonable time. And within a reasonable time doesn't mean 2 years. It is not the fault of the parties that go before the court. The system has to make it possible that there are sufficient and competent people sitting to hear cases and that they give these decisions in a timely manner. Reasonable time is not 2 years.
Johnson says that the country should look into any changes that will produce a better system, a more transparent system, and one that is able to handle the number of cases coming before the court. She adds that citizens need persons who are working hard and diligently in all sectors of society, especially the judicial system.
You're playing with people's livelihood and also their liberty. And so therefore it is very important. If you cannot function, if you're incapable of functioning at your job at a normal pace, and that is to provide 5 days of work with 40 to 45 hours of service, then you should really decline the position that has been offered to you or resign from your position. If you're not well physically, please leave the bench.
But what exactly does Johnson consider too long to produce a ruling?
Definitely any judgment that goes over about 3 to 6 months, then even it should not be even as long as that. You should able to, while the evidence is fresh in your mind, that you should give a judgment. It doesn't need to be pages long. As long as it contains what the evidence was given and that your decision obviously supports the evidence before the court as well as the case law that is provided.
Now, in defense of magistrates and judges, Johnson says there are some setbacks that cannot be avoided at this present time.
We also lack properly trained support staff, and that's very important. We should have a library. We should have access to search vehicles that are provided nationwide from other jurisdictions like Nexus, and for searches for authorities. And also, we should have people who do research for us. At the moment, due to financial restraints, that is not possible. But obviously, we can work towards that.
She says while she understands these shortcomings, the public should not have to suffer for inadequacies or personal work ethics of others. Megan Shepherd, ZNS Network News.
A Freeport man is hospitalized in stable condition after being shot overnight. According to reports, shortly before 1 o'clock this morning, the injured man went to the hospital and reported that he had been shot in the right leg while in the Freeport area. He is still detained in hospital. Police are investigating and are appealing to members of the public who may have any information regarding this incident to contact 911-919-350-3015 or the Central Detective Unit at 350-3106 or 7. Meanwhile, police say the man found dead on the beachfront in Hunters last Thursday has been identified as 49-year-old Elvis McDaniel of Hunters. The discovery was made around 6 o'clock that evening. The authorities say foul play is not suspected, but an autopsy will be carried out to determine the exact cause of death. In other news, a new urban renewal center is earmarked for the southern community of Lewis Yard. The Minister for Grand Bahama says it is the government's response to addressing the many social ills in that area. Dr. Michael Darville says since taking office, manpower and resources have been directed at identifying and determining the number of persons living below the poverty level on Grand Bahama, and after canvassing the southern communities, his ministry has determined that some residents in that district are in need of assistance.
We observe that many of the residents live in substandard conditions with no running water, no electricity, and no toilet facilities. As a result, many are depositing their fecal matter in plastic bags and disposing them in the nearby territories. There is absolutely no reason why in this time persons should be living in such conditions. There is no way, and I say that again, there is no way a caring government can allow this problem to go unresolved.
Darville says his ministry is committed to alleviating poverty on this island. Operation Flush, which targets the elimination of outdoor toilets, is a key component in this campaign.
Last year, I set a goal to eliminate outside toilets on Grand Bahama over the next 24 months. And I am committed simply because they carry potential risks and have been implemented in the contamination of the water table and linked to the spread of many forms of communicable diseases. Mr. Speaker, under this caring administration, this budget now allows financial resources to be allocated to the Ministry of Grand Bahama through a line item under urban redevelopment, which will ensure that these residents of Grand Bahama live in a cleaner, safer, and healthier community.
But the minister says the southern community isn't the only area in need of indoor plumbing. He says some areas of his Pine Ridge constituency are in need of this assistance as well. Teachers have voted to retain the leadership of Belinda Wilson and her A-team at the helm of the Bahamas Union of Teachers. Some 2,500 teachers cast their ballots yesterday, and Wilson was able to defeat former Secretary General Stephen McPhee for a third consecutive term as president. Wilson was able to beat out McPhee by over 500 votes, but McPhee polled more votes here on Grand Bahama and in Abaco. Here on Grand Bahama, Area Vice President Quintin LaRota was returned to that post by defeating his opponent, Vincent Roll. Stay with us. The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition is coming right back.